Hi, I'm Mariela.
And I'm Lee.
And today we're going to install the back windows for our van. We've been waiting for a long time. They were supposed to arrive back in January 2021. We did finally get them a couple of weeks ago. It's now September, but we get to do that today. And we're going to show you how we're doing it.
We have two CRL aluminum windows. They're the awning style. That way you can have them open a little bit when it's raining or drizzling outside and still get that airflow. So we're going to install those now. We have a magnet that uses to hold the door open when you open it all the way. This magnet will attract metal shavings. When you start cutting, the metal shavings are really hard to get off the magnet. You can also get metal shavings down inside the trim all along here. So the easiest thing I found to do is to remove this. It just screws right out, and put some painter's tape across this, which will protect it from all the metal shavings. You can see how I've already done that on the other side of the van. Somebody's taking that thing. This just locks in around this edge. You can see where I put some silicone here to keep the water from intruding. I'll replace that when I put it back together. Get all the old silicone off. Check for rust, a couple spots where we're missing paint. I'll do some touch up on that before I put everything back together. Rust is not your friend. Here's the CR Lawrence aluminum windows. This model is the AW1033. This is the way it comes in a box. Pretty packaged, pretty safe. Comes with the screws, the trim ring, and of course it comes with the window. This is the awning window. Comes out like so. Has a screen on it. We take this, put this in from the outside, put this in from the inside, sandwich it on the metal of the van, and run the little screws through the holes down into the window. I've taken this piece and made a template that fits inside the frame. You do not want this to be too big. If it's too small, you can file away a little more metal. If it's too big, you'll ruin your van. So the first thing I'm going to do is mark these pieces. Like so. And I'll also mark the bottom. This can be cut a little bigger, but not a little smaller. We got it all taped up best we can, trying to prevent any of the metal shadings from going down and getting caught like over here. We don't want any metal shavings behind there because it'll rust out this and rust out the outer panel of the van. So we taped it up best we can. While we're cutting this, we're going to run a vacuum cleaner, a shop vac that will pull most of the metal away. So we're going to make this cut, these 4 cuts, then we can pry this off. Then we'll be ready to make the main cut. Be careful you don't go through to the skin, because this is bigger than the window. This is where the trim is. The window is only about here. You have to be very, very careful. Safety first. Don't want metal in our eyes. Okay, the only thing holding it is the silicone. So, let's heat that up and pry it off. this one off. Now we have to do this one and 2 more, and then clean, make our marks. The width of the frame is a 1/2 inch. So I measured down 1/2 inch and set my line across the top. Now I want to double check here. Make sure I have at least a 1/2 inch here, which I do. I have 1 inch and 3/4. So I might bring it down just a little bit. Just make sure this is level all the way across. That's where it's gonna be. We have the template where we want it. We got it far back as it can go. It's level with the frame of the van. Can't use the level in the van because the van's never level. I've marked the inside of my template. I'll drill 2 holes at random places. Then I'll take the template outside, line the holes up so I know I'm in the exact same place on the outside of the van. Then I'll mark it. Then we can cut it with the jigsaw. So, a little scary. You can ruin your van if you screw this part up. This is our inside, this means that's our outside. We'll line this up. We'll line this hole up. And that's where our window's going to be.
And now we're covering all of these so that when Lee cuts the window from the outside, the metal shavings don't fall in these little crevices and rust away.
We've got everything marked out. We got the 2 holes we drilled so we could line everything up. The holes are big enough that the blade will go inside the holes, so I can use that as a starting point. Put tape on the table for my my jigsaw so I don't scratch the van. Now I'm just going to start here and cut the bottom first. Then I'll put some tape over the cuts to hold it in place so it doesn't vibrate so much. Then I'll finish by cutting the top. Point of no return. Okay, time to test fit the window. Hopefully it doesn't just fall all the way through and it's too big, because that's no good. Nice. Goes in, has slight amount of place so I can adjust it, but not too much. The little rubber seal that comes from the factory right here fits right up against the metal. We tested the trim ring, it fits. So now we need to clean up the metal, prime it, take a file and clean it, prime it and put some paint on it. Make sure it doesn't rust. I have a friend that works in a body shop. We use Rust-Oleum everywhere, but he recommends this stuff. You can order it online. It's not too expensive, but it's really good rust preventative. But instead of spraying it and getting it everywhere, the best thing to do is to put it in a little cup, spray it in the foam cup, put a little bit on a foam brush, dab it everywhere. You have bare metal. I did put tape on the outside, so if anything ran down, it wouldn't run down the side of the van, make a mess. The window comes with the frame and the screen in place. The screen's held on by Velcro. There's a couple of pull tabs. You just remove that while you're doing the installation so that it doesn't get damaged. Put it somewhere safe. The frame, there's a groove that runs all the way around the window. The screws go into this groove, but there's no pre-made holes. So what you have to do is set your frame onto the window, line these two bottom pieces up where it's separated, and you'll put your screws in the groove, and you'll want to start them by hand. Now we want to center the window in the hole. Just keep some pressure on it. Just keep pressure on it. Frame in place. Get the bottom lined up. The window's in place. Had Mariella hold it from the outside while I put the trim ring on. Had this first screw started, wasn't too bad. But when I went to the next screw, it was very, very difficult to get going. She had to push pretty hard as I pushed pretty hard. The screw had to go into the little track and cut its own thread. It was very difficult. What I did realize by the time I got to this one over here is that it's very possible for the screw to go past the track. It feels like it catches, but it's not really getting a good grip. So make sure you get the screw in the track. So we got it all the way around, had the screws in, they were a little bit loose. We moved the window around, adjusted it to exactly where we wanted it, tightened the screws down, and the window's in and ready to be used. We just have to water test it. I don't expect any problems, but excited. Okay, here comes the test.
Looks super good.